Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today's a really exciting video. Super exciting for me. Hopefully it's exciting for you guys to watch a newbie get into pressure canning, because that's exactly what we're doing today. I invested in the Presto Digital 17-quart canner, and I heard that one of the easiest things to can are beans, and I found so many beans that I had in like a 5-gallon bucket, and I want to get those pressure canned and ready to use. Just have some convenient shelf-stable beans in my pantry. So that's what we're gonna do today. I believe I can only fit 5-quart jars. I'm gonna double check. I've been watching videos and watching TikToks and tutorials and all that, so I think I'm confident. I feel decently confident that this will go well. So I have my 5 jars here. I have to wash them really well. I don't want to run them through my dishwasher because I don't have anything in there right now. It's just these 5 jars, and I don't want to run a dishwasher for just 5 jars. But the hot water that comes from my tap, like out of my sink, is extremely hot. Like take the skin off your hands kind of hot. So I think it'll be okay. So I am gonna do that. I'm going to warm up some water in a kettle so that I can soak my lids. And the lids that I'm gonna be using are the 4-jar, I think it's called, 4-jar lids. I will link them down below. I got them off of Amazon. I hear that those are the best lids to use. I've had these quart jars. I also have a few pint jars and half pints, and I've had them for a really long time because I have done some water bath canning, but honestly, I would just use these to store teas, loose leaf teas and seasonings and things like that. I never really use them for pressure canning, and these lids have been on for a really long time. I'm not sure which ones were used for water bath canning or not, and just for safe practices, I'm just gonna use, I will probably have a Ziploc bag for used lids that I can, use for just regular storing stuff in the fridge. But for pressure canning, especially for the first time, I wanna use brand new lids. So I'm gonna do that. If you guys can see behind me, I have my stock pot there, and I have one of the containers of beans. I have a ton of black beans. I feel like it's gonna fill up a bunch more than just these 5. So I might have to run this pressure canner twice. I did pick up a case of, I believe they were pint jars and 1.5 pints, which I've never seen before, from Azure Standard, and those are really nice, thick, sturdy glass, and they already come with the rings and the lid. I believe that's the Superb brand. So I'm gonna use those because I heard that they were really good. So I don't know how many I'm gonna get out of these. I decided on quart for at least 5 quarts for now, because when I use beans for my size family, this right here would be 1 dinner serving plus some leftovers for the next day. I would have to open up 2 pints to make the amount that I would need for my family anyway, so I might as well just can them in these quarts. I'm pretty sure I will have more than enough beans left over to do a bunch of pints or 1.5 pints, because those I figured I could use when I do like my black bean and corn salsa, when I'm doing my Chipotle bowls. I can gift a few to my mom. I think a pint size would be perfect for her. So that's the plan for today. I'm gonna stop yapping. I'm gonna show you the beans. I have them soaking at this point pretty much about 24 hours. I started this afternoon time yesterday. I washed them really well a few times. I picked out any funky looking beans. There were no rocks in them, but any funky little looking beans, I took those out, and then I had them soaking, and I added more water as the night went on because they kept absorbing the water. So let me show you what they look like, and then I'll walk you through the process of how I'm going to pressure can these beans. Okay, so here I have my 2 bowls of black beans. I didn't keep a good track of how many pounds of dried beans I use, but that's all right. I have a bunch of other beans that I want to can up, so I will, note that for the next time. But I have a ton of black beans here. They have plumped up really nicely. So what I'm gonna do first is strain these beans, give them another good rinse, and then I'm gonna add them to that large stock pot with some fresh water, and we're going to boil them, or parboil, I guess, for 30 minutes. That's what the safe canning procedure is. But also I've seen a few TikToks that say that soaking your beans also helps reduce the phytic acid, so it makes it easier for digestion. I don't mind the extra step, because if it's gonna be easier on our digestion, then why wouldn't I do it? So let me get these beans cleaned up and into the stock pot, and then I'll show you what I'm gonna add to it. All right, guys, this is how many beans. Hopefully you guys can see, but it is pretty full of beans. I went ahead and picked a few funky ones out. You guys let me know in the comments down below, but I heard that if you have these little like half pieces, like they break in half, these you should discard, or any beans that float to the top you should discard. So that's what I did. So what I'm gonna do is add some water to this, not to the top because I don't want it to boil over, but I'm gonna leave maybe about 2 inches of headspace, and then we're gonna pop this onto the stove and let it come to a boil. And once it does, we're gonna boil it for 30 minutes. I'm gonna put on the heat to medium high, but I'm also gonna take the time now to add in an onion and a jalapeno. I think I wanna do that. I don't have any bell peppers, and the ones that are in my garden are still a little bit too small and I don't wanna pick them, but I heard that that's a really good way of adding flavor. I don't have fresh garlic cloves. If not, I would have added that, but quite all right. I am gonna put some salt in the jars when I go to can them, but I think an onion and a jalapeno should be fine. So let me grab that. So I have 1 onion. I took the skins off and cut it in half. So I'm gonna dump that in there. And I have 1 jalapeno. I took out the core and the seeds, so popping that in there. Now, I know it's gonna take quite a bit of time for this to come up to a boil, so we're gonna let this go for a little bit. And I heard it takes about 20 minutes to warm the jars in the Presto canner because there is an option to warm the jars. So I'm gonna do that 10 minutes into the beans boiling so that by the time the jars are ready, the beans should be ready to can up as well. All right, guys, this is the 17-quart pressure canner. It's a big boy. That one's nice and big. And I do have the manual, which is what I am going off of. Let me open it up for those of you that have never seen this before. Okay, I'm still figuring this out myself. So remove that, pop that back. There we go. I have the regulator and the power cord here. So let me set this up super quick. All right, so the cool thing about this is that there is a little fill line. You can see it right there. And there's no guesswork, which is great because I'm a beginner. I'm already intimidated to begin with. So I want this as easy as possible, which is another reason why I got this, because it literally tells you step by step what to do. And then you press next in between every step. So I feel like this is really good for beginners that are super intimidated, but really want to get into canning. It was definitely an investment. I think this one was $3.85 on Amazon. Now I will say, put it in your cart because the price changes from day to day or every few days. At one point it was $424 and then it went down to $3.85. I wasn't ready to buy it, so I waited a little bit longer, and when I had the money and it went down to $3.85, that is when I purchased it. So that is just a little Amazon tip, Amazon hack. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill the water to the fill line. I already have the rack in the bottom. My beans are almost there. Maybe in another 5 or 10 minutes they'll be boiling, and then I will start the process of warming up the jars. I also wanted to note that I'm gonna take the time to skim the top of this off and just pour it into a bowl because I don't want this in the final product. All right, guys, so the beans are boiling. I have about 25 minutes left. I turned on the pressure canner. I just, plugged it in, it turned on. I have it on pressure can. I set it to 90 minutes. I thought I was recording, but I set it to 90 minutes. I pushed it again. Now it says insert jars. I'm going to insert the quart jars. They're gonna be half full of water, and I'm gonna pop them in, and then I'll show you guys the next step. 2, 1. Whoa, not do that. 1, 2, you wanna make sure that they're not touching. 3, or at least that is what I saw online. Let me add the other 2 in. All right, that is what she is looking like. So, do I need to put the lid on to warm it? Do I? I don't know, guys. Do I need to put it doesn't say put the lid on. I'm gonna put it on. Maybe just like that. I put the lid on just in case. I don't think you need to have it on. I don't know, but I have it on the warm setting, so I will come back when it's done. We're gonna empty the jars out, fill up with the beans. That's what they're looking like. I'm gonna skim. I've been skimming off the top of it into a bowl, so I'm gonna keep skimming it for the next, 20 minutes or so, and I will come back to you when it's time to fill these things up. All right, guys, so the machine just beeped, and now it says fill jars. So I'm gonna pop this open and take all of the jars out with this nifty little tool, empty the water, and start filling it with the beans because I have about 1.5 minutes of boiling time, so perfect timing. There we go. And I did read the instruction manual, and I was supposed to put on the sealing ring and the lid and lock it for the warming option, so that's what I did. Lifting up the first one. Don't mind my dirty sink. I'm in the middle of another cooking video. Okay, I'm not gonna place it down. I just thought about that. Let me set down a kitchen towel and then I will place these on top. And before I add the beans in, I'm gonna add in 2 teaspoons of salt. This is a half teaspoon, so I'm gonna have to do 4. Is it 2 teaspoons? 4? I don't know. 1. And this is the Redmond real salt. I'm gonna have to fill this back up. I also have this nifty little tool, and I have my ladle as well, and I have my rings in here. I just have them in a little bit warmer than warm water. I'm gonna start adding the beans in and making sure I don't get any of the onions or the jalapeno in here. And it says to leave about 1 inch of headspace. There's that jalapeno. Let me pop that out. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I was reading the instruction manual and it said to fill it up with a 1 inch headspace. So that's what I'm gonna do, and then I will just add in the liquid. Oh, that one is a little too full. Now that all the jars are full to a 1 inch headspace, this tool has a debubbling side and a side with a little measuring thing so that you can measure exactly 1 inch of headspace, which is good. But I also read that up until the very first line, the little first ring, that's 1 inch. So I'm gonna use the debubbling tool. Now that that's done, I'm gonna grab a little bit of distilled vinegar on a paper towel and just wipe the rims off so that they're nice and clean, and hopefully we get a really good seal. All right, now I'm going to add my This thing came with all of the different tools, so I will link it down below. I got my bands here, so putting them on just fingertip tight. And now I'm gonna use the same tool to pick them up and put them back inside of the pressure canner, and I will show you guys in 1 second. Now I guess my only question is, with the other beans that I have left over, they're gonna have to wait quite some time before I can can them again. So how does that work? Do I have to reheat the beans? I need to look that up while this is processing, because I'm not entirely sure if I have to reheat them, warm the jars up, and do that whole process all over again, or if I can just fill up warm jars with warm beans and then warm it all together in this. I'm not sure. I'll have to research that. I'll see what I come up with. Let me finish adding these in. Just trying to make sure that none of them are touching. So I added them all in. I'm making sure that none of them are touching. All right, so I just read over the manual. I put all of my jars in. I put the sealing, silicone sealing ring on the inside, put the lid on, locked it, put on the safety lock, hit the next button, and now it's on heat. And I just have to wait until it tells me to put the regulator on, can for 90 minutes, and then we're done. Until then, I'm gonna research what to do. I have a decent amount of beans left, and it would be great if I can just fill them up and then put them into the canner and do the warming process. You know what I mean? That would be nice, but I'll research and come back to you guys in a second. Alrighty, so regulator on, canning for 90 minutes. All right, I think that's it. Alrighty guys, so the machine is finally done. For a while it said cool, and I checked the manual and you have to wait for it to completely cool, depressurize. It'll say when it's done. So I'm gonna pop it open and take the lids, or take the jars out. I have a kitchen towel set up over there so that I can put them all on top of there. And I have all of my pints ready to go so that I can fill them and get another batch going. Oh. So don't forget to take off your regulator. There you go. And from what I read online, you have to leave them completely undisturbed for at least 12 hours, but no more than 24 hours. So that is what I plan to do. And I will come back tomorrow morning and check the seals. So for the next batch, the water is still right at the water line. So that's good. I don't have to add any more water. It is still really, really warm. So what I am gonna do is run my jars through some hot water again, fill them with the beans that are still pretty warm, load them in here, do the warming process and all of that, and get another batch going. I am going to put a rack in between and layer them. I think I can get 13 in if I'm not mistaken, so we shall see. All right, so I have my first layer in. I'm gonna put the rack and put the second one on top. Hopefully this works out because I've never done this before, but it says that I can double deck pints, so I should be okay. All right, this is the rack. Is this too big? Hold on, let me see. No, okay, we should be good. I will list this rack down below. All right, it says you can fit 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, how many do I have down there? It says you can fit 13, but I don't know if that's regular mouth. No, don't scratch. No. Oh, I don't like that. Okay. So I have 2, 4, 6. I'm wondering if this is like too big for it though. I don't want to scratch up my thing. I feel like this might be a little too big because it doesn't go in easily. So, what time is it? All right, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, technically, I have 6 more to load up, but this rack that I got, I think, it said it was for a 17 quart Presto, and that it would work for this one, but it doesn't go in smoothly, you know what I mean? And I already tried putting it in. I did put it in, but then when I went to take it out, it scratched the pan or like the side of the thing a little bit. So I don't want to use this. So I'm just gonna have to run it twice, which is quite all right. I'm gonna pop the lid back on, do everything that I did the first time, and I will come back at night, take these out, put the other ones in, and we're just gonna have to make it work that way. And I will return these and get a smaller size. That is a bummer, but that's okay. So I'm gonna add my sealing ring, which I didn't show the last time, but press it down so that it's nice and snug. Alrighty. I'm gonna lock it. Lock it. Just so that you guys can see, because I don't think I showed you this part the last time, but pints are 75 minutes. So I'm gonna press start, insert jars. It's gonna warm it all together and then it's gonna move on to the canning process. Hey guys, I am back. It is a few days later. Are we surprised? No, we're not. But I wanted to close out this video and I wanted to show you guys my black beans. This was a pretty easy project, and honestly, I feel like with most things, things that seem pretty intimidating, after you do it, you're like, why didn't I do it before? Why didn't I start it sooner? And that's kind of how I feel with pressure canning. I will say, especially with the Presto digital canner, it makes it so easy because it literally tells you what to do step by step. It is amazing for beginners that are super intimidated. So if you're able to invest in one of those, I think it's great. I do have a regular pressure canner and I will learn how to use that one, but I've heard mixed reviews on using it on a glass top stove. So if you guys have used pressure canners on a glass top stove, let me know in the comments down below. So I was able to make 5 quarts and 12 pints. Now these are the ones from Azure Standard, really nice sturdy jars, and these are the superb lids. I really enjoyed using these, so I will definitely be picking up some more jars, but I also want to do a little bit of thrifting because sometimes they have mason jars at thrift stores and they're really, really inexpensive as well. So yeah, these are my beans. I did open up the quartz, one of the quart size ones. I don't want to open one of these up for you guys, but I will insert some clips because I did make a shorts out of it so that you can hear the pop when I opened this up. It was like music to my ears, and I ended up just making some black beans for dinner. So I'll insert those clips. And yeah, that is everything for today's video. Super happy with this project. The next thing that I'm gonna be canning, I'm not sure which one is gonna come first, if it's the potatoes or if it's gonna be the bone broth. I'm not sure which because we do have a bathroom renovation that's gonna be starting in our master bathroom, so I won't be filming for a few days, and I'll kind of take some time to kind of just relax, edit, things like that. So I'm not sure which one is gonna come first because I ordered, I believe it was 50 pounds of potatoes from Azure Standard. They were on like a bargain, was it, I don't know if it was a bargain bin or if it was on sale because they're starting to sprout a little bit. So I'm like, well, that's perfect because I have to peel them and chop them up anyway. And I really want to have potatoes that are already cooked and ready to go for some quick and easy mashed potatoes, which is usually what I use potatoes for unless I'm roasting them in the oven. So I think the pressure canned one are gonna be strictly for mashed potatoes. But yeah, this was a really fun project. Thank you guys so much for watching if you're still here. And if you have any suggestions, if I did anything that was wrong or not considered safe, again, I'm very new to canning. I did research quite a bit, but you know, we all make mistakes, especially when you're learning something new. So if you guys have any good tips or tricks, let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know what you guys like to can because I'm always looking for ideas on what else to can. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here. And until the next video, bye friends.